Plus, on the news, JAMB clarifies it does not select examination towns for candidates taking UTME or the optional mock examination. From the international scene, 10 women and 3 children were among at least 18 people killed in a crowd crush at a train station in India's capital, as thousands of Hindu pilgrims waited to board trains to attend the annual religious festival. Details of these and more coming your way soon. Do stay with us. Many thanks for joining us at this time. Now, details of the news. President Bola Tinubu has called on the African Union Peace and Security Council AUPSC to prioritize the establishment of a combined maritime task force to enhance security in the Gulf of Guinea. At the 38th ordinary session of the Assembly of the African Union, heads of state and government in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia on Sunday, President Tinubu expressed Nigeria's readiness to host the task force's headquarters in Lagos. President Tinubu conveyed Nigeria's position as the AU considered the report on the AUPSC focusing on peace and security in Africa and the biennial on the implementation of the master roadmap of practical steps to silence the guns in Africa. The statement was delivered on behalf of President Tinubu by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tugar. Nigeria's recommendation of a maritime force comes on the same day that it signed an agreement with the EU to provide strategic sea-lift services for AU peace support operations, natural disaster support, humanitarian actions and personnel movement. Nigeria's defense minister signed the agreement. Under the agreement, the Nigerian Navy will provide the vessel for the operations of a coast recovery basis. First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, says she is committed to advocacy, resource mobilization and fostering partnership to close the gender gap and boost women and youth empowerment in Nigeria. She was speaking during the 29th General Assembly of the Organization of African First Ladies for Development, OAFLAD, in Addis Ababa. The First Lady noted that the theme of this year's General Assembly, Building of Beijing First Ladies Championing Women's Leadership and Rights Through African Heritage, is a reflect on Africa's value and how they can impact a new vision for women on the continent. Senator Oluremi Tinubu noted that our positive force for change in the African continent, the Organization of African First Ladies for Development, will continue to improve the lot of by building partnership that can fast-track implementation of its 2025 to 2030 strategic framework. She noted through our journey with OAFLAD began only in August 2023, she said much has been accomplished for women, youth, the aged and other vulnerable groups in Nigeria through effective implementation of OAFLAD advocacy initiatives by PET program RHI, especially in areas of education, social welfare, economic empowerment, agriculture and health. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has clarified that it does not select examination towns for candidates taking the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination (UTME) or the optional mock examination. This clarification comes as 90% of the available slots for the mock exam have been filled, with only a few states still open for selection. In a statement issued on Sunday by JAMB spokesperson Fabian Benjamin, JAMB noted that some candidates are making unusual choices in the selection of examination towns, likely in an attempt to participate in the optional mock exam. The board advised against selecting distant towns of desperation or the complain about being assigned far from their residences or hometowns. The examination body said the remaining states with available slots for the mock examinations are Gombe, Jigawa, Katsina, Kebbi, Plateau, Sokoto, Taraba and Yobe, saying candidates interested in the mock exam in these states are encouraged to select their examination towns accordingly. It maintains that while candidates have the freedom to choose their preferred locations, JAMB urged them to consider travel logistics and convenience, noting that once a town's capacity is filled, it will no longer be available for selection. JAMB emphasized that the mock examination is primarily designed to help candidates familiarize themselves with the CBT environment and to allow the board to assess its facilities. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Tawe Uwada, has said that the federal government will collaborate with Kaduna State government on provisions of skills acquisition and integration program hardened minors of end-bad governance. The minister made this known during his follow-up visit to the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, His Excellency Senator Uba Sani. Uwada assured that none of the end-bad governance will work out of the progress will regret. He emphasized that the federal government is willing to make the future better. On his part, the Kaduna State said they've been in touch with the minors, especially as it concerns their education and development, and are willing to provide psychological, psychosocial support, vocational training, and educational reintegration programs for lasting impact on their lives.
Via collaboration between the state government and the federal government, the release and reintegration of these minors and youths stand as testament to the belief that justice is not just about punishment, but about restoration, redemption, also renewal. The present decision to grant a pardon to these minors and youths was not just merely an act of clemency. It was a declaration of faith in their own potentials.
Humanitarian issues in our country. I also want to inform you that since our meeting in Abuja last year, when we received the minors, we were involved in an unfortunate incident that happened in August last year. In Kaduna, we brought them, sat down with them. The first thing we did was ensuring that they were given psychosocial therapy as well as counseling by our highly respected team under the able leadership of the Deputy Governor.
You're still on to the news on Galaxy TV. Coming up next. National Association of Nigerian Students expressed outright discontent over exclusion of students from scheduled board meeting of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. Details of these and more coming after the break. Do stay with us. We are glad to have you back. Now, for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV News. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate you live updates and comment, as you can easily scan our IG QR code. Now to the story teased earlier. The National Association of Nigerian Students has expressed deep concern over outright discontent over the exclusion of students from the scheduled board meeting of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. student body, in a statement issued and signed by its national president, Loke Monife, noted that as the apex student body representing over 50 million students across the country, it will not stand idle while critical decisions affecting their future are made in their absence. It added that as the primary stakeholders and direct beneficiaries of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, it is completely unacceptable that students are sidelined from deliberations that shape the administration and disbursement of student loans. The student body maintained that this fund was created for Nigerian students and students must have a voice on how it is managed. It strengthened that NANS will be mobilized and en masse to ensure that no meeting holds until this representation is secured, noting that it remains a final warning. NANS maintained that Nigerian students have exercised patience for too long and have refused to be spectators in matters that directly affect education, future and welfare, saying no student, no meeting. Yoruba traditional rulers in 19 northern states of Nigeria have canvassed for unity and oneness in the region and other parts of the country for rapid socio-economic development. A professor of history from University of Abuja, Professor Oluranti Edward Ojo, and other traditional rulers from the north made the appeal at the inauguration of new leadership of the Yoruba traditional rulers in the northern states held in Abuja. Correspondent Kole Ojo completes the story.
The event brought together traditional rulers and their subjects in the 19 northern states of Nigeria under the umbrella of Association of Yoruba Traditional Rulers to consolidate on and oneness of Yoruba race in the region. While going memory lane, a professor of history from the University of Abuja, Professor Oluranti Edward Ojo, declared that Yoruba people remain the most well-traveled among all the tribes in Nigeria, stressing that their impact on socio-economic development of Nigeria cannot be overemphasized. He emphasized the need for unity among the Yorubas as well as maintain good relationship with the people from other tribes, saying they should continue to make use of their population to their advantage at all times. In this remark, the chairman, House of Representative Committee on Custom and Excise, Honorable Leke Abejide, urged the traditional rulers and their subjects in the 19 northern states to continue to support the administration of President Bola Tinubu.
You say, if I told you that the Yoruba are the most resilient, educated, flexible, tolerant, law-abiding, hardworking, accommodating in the whole of Africa. There was an ethnic group in Nigeria that migrated and settled down in northern part of Nigeria even before the commencement of the Fulani Jihad, that is Madam Fodio Jihad, and that was the Yoruba people of Southwest Africa. I can also tell you that when you are talking about entrepreneurship, the Yoruba were the first to migrate and establish their hegemony in the northern part of Nigeria.
Yoruba people in this country are not second citizens. Everywhere we find ourselves, we excel. People like me, I lived in Kano for over 32 years. Is backing me behind. I want us to speak with one voice anytime when the comes. Once we do that, I can always get things for you as an association.
The new leadership of the association promised to work towards ensuring peace and unity among their people in the region, as well as collaborate with people from other ethnic groups for and development of Nigeria.
The mission is to get all the Yoruba in the north together and let them be in peace with their host community. Let them know that they are in the north to come and speak and deal with the host community in peace. Everybody should face their business, do their business. There shouldn't be any form of criminalities among the Yorubas.
We must be law-abiding wherever we find ourselves. Whatever location we reside, we must be very law-abiding. We must obey the law, and we must work to the progress of where we are residing. Wherever you are, it's your home. Every place is home in Nigeria. And as far as 2027 is concerned, we have our leaders, and you know the Yorubas, our vote is always in block.
The message is that number one, they should carry all the Yorubas along, all the Yorubas in the north, especially the women. They should allow us to have a space, give us a breathing space, especially the women. We want the cooperation of all our obas, especially our fathers. We want their cooperation. We want them to be supportive in whatever we are doing.
High point of the event was the inauguration of the new leadership of the Yoruba traditional rulers in the northern states of Nigeria. From Abuja, Kunle Ojo, Galaxy TV.
Moving on to other stories, the Emir of Ilorin and Chairman of Kwara State Traditional Rulers Council, Dr. Ibrahim Zulugambari, has expressed deep sorrow over the gruesome murder of Afsa Lawal, a final-year student of Kwara State College of Education, Ilorin, allegedly killed by Abdurrahman Bello, an acclaimed Islamic cleric. In response, the Emir directed imams around the state to use their Friday sermons to preach against ritual killings and other inhuman acts, emphasizing the need to uphold morality and dignity in the society. In a statement issued by spokesman Malam Abdulaziz Awurono on Sunday, Zulugambari condemned the incident, describing it as most unfortunate, alien to the culture of Ilorin, and a regrettable act of wickedness. He further stressed that only hard work yields success, calling for a total war against idleness, laziness, and unwarranted loitering by youth under the guise of seeking means of survival. The Emir also urged clerics in the Ilorin Emirate and beyond to help sanitize the system by identifying and exposing individuals like Abdurrahman Bello to law enforcement agencies before they cause more harm. Still on security, the Nigerian police force has neutralized 7 terrorists and recovered 23 firearms with assorted ammunition in recent operations across the country. The force public relations officer, ASP Muyiwa Adejobi, in a statement issued on Sunday, said the operations were part of efforts to dismantle criminal networks and enhance internal security. The statement noted that on February 14, 2025, and then invaded Gobraji village in Suru local government area of Kebbi State and kidnapped a 60-year-old man, Umar Bawa. Police operatives in Kebbi State trailed the suspects to Tudenfari Forest in the Dekingari axis, where they engaged the kidnappers in a gun duel, killing 4 of them and arresting 1 with fatal injuries. The victim was rescued inert and the sum of 3 million naira, already paid as ransom, was recovered. Similarly, on 8 February 2025, police operatives in Imo State added that as a follow-up on 9 February 2025, the operatives moved to Unkoko Forest in Mabitole local government area near the boundary with Ubachima Forest in Awumama Oru West local government area of Imo State, where the terrorists opened fire upon searching the police. During the ensuing exchange, 3 terrorist kingpins were further neutralized. 2 AK-47 rifles, each loaded with 36 rounds of live ammunition, 1 pump-action gun, 1 cutlass, 4 motorcycles, and various criminal charms were also recovered. The Ondo State Police Command has arrested a suspect, Temidayo Fadaunsi, in the car area of Akure, the capital, over alleged mobile phone theft. According to the police, the case of phone theft had been reported at the police station in the area, leading to Fadaunsi's arrest in connection with the crime. Parading the suspect and others at the police headquarters in Akure, the State Commissioner of Police Wilfred Afolabi disclosed that a search of the suspect's residence uncovered no fewer than 228 Android phones, along with multiple foreign SIM cards. The CP stated on Friday 6, 2025, a case of stealing was reported to the police through shared intelligence. Officers acted swiftly and arrested one Temidayo Fadaunsi, aged 25, at the Ijoka area of Akure. Upon searching his premises, they found 228 Android phones, 156 different types of batteries, and 23 foreign SIM cards, none of which he could satisfactorily account for. The suspect is currently under investigation. will be charged to court upon the conclusion of inquiries. In a separate case in Ikpere, Afolabi revealed that a woman had been abducted from her home by another man. However, a swift response from the police, assisted by local youth, resulted in her rescue. During the operations, officers recovered an AK-47 rifle at the scene. The Executive Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, has charged the newly commissioned Detective Assistant Cadet Course 5 of the Commission to imbibe the culture of integrity and discipline in the discharge of their duties. He gave the charge at the passing out parade ceremony of the cadet numbering 169 at Nigeria Police Mobile Training College in the Hills, Nasarawa State. Olukoyede that the cadets were not only groomed in law enforcement but in ethics, discipline and leadership, charged them to uphold EFCC's core value of integrity, courage, professionalism and collaboration. He reminded them that the task that lies ahead of them as anti-corruption officers was a national challenge for the good of the country in accordance with the mission of the EFCC. Speaking further, Olukoyede noted that the future and well-being of the country is tied to the unrelenting sustenance of the fight against corruption, economic and financial crimes. In his remarks, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, Engineer Abdullahi Sule, noted that the EFCC needed enough manpower as well as involvement of all well-meaning Nigerians to achieve success in the anti-corruption fight. He added that the coming on board of the fresh cadet further demonstrates the commitment of the government of President Tinubu to strengthen EFCC and improve quality of its manpower for effective service delivery. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, says arrested 284 suspects for drug trafficking and related offences within 1 year. NDLEA Commander in Ekiti State, Sunday Aino, who said that within the period, the agency secured the conviction of 57 drug dealers, with the cases of others pending in court, cautioned residents to stay away from drugs and drug-related offences. Aino, according to a statement by the command's public relations officer, Ifeoluwa Fabiyi, in Ado Ekiti on Sunday, spoke on Friday while giving a scorecard of NDLEA Ekiti State Command under his watch for the year 2024. The NDLEA commander made a case for a befitting rehabilitation center in Ekiti State, saying the center will out help in the prevention, treatment and rehabilitation of drug users. The commander said the renewed drug war in his command, coupled with the support of Governor Biodun Oyebanji in the fight against illicit substances in Ekiti State, has resulted in drug supply and demanded reductions in the state command. A total of 284 suspects were arrested, which comprised 24 males and 20 females in the process. Among the arrested suspects, a total of 57 drug dealers, which comprised 51 males and 6 females, were successfully convicted and 7 jail term, with other cases still pending at the Federal High Court in Ado Ekiti. A total of 163 drug users and abusers, which comprised 153 males and 10 females, were cancelled, and some referred to further rehabilitation where necessary during the same period. And still in Ekiti State, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) stakeholders are calling on the party's national secretariat to instill discipline and restore order within its rank. They made the appeal during a reconciliation meeting held at the party secretariat in Ado Ekiti. Addressing the party stakeholders, the caretaker chairman, Adeleke, said these are challenging times for the People's Democratic Party in Ekiti State as internal divisions threaten to weaken the once dominant political force. Adeleke believes that reconciliation effort will strengthen the party ahead of future elections. Many party loyalists argue that lack of discipline within the PDP has contributed to its struggles and urged the national leadership to enforce the party's constitution and impose necessary sanction on members who violate internal regulations.
Wanted to the two places at the same time, and even renouncing the APC as a prominent leader. We were having that, and we are going to sanction them any moment from now. Of discipline.
The former governor of Osun State was expelled from the party. We are expecting the same thing, because where there is no discipline, then nothing can move.
In the wake of resurgence of Ebola deadly disease, Ebola, the federal government has been urged to establish quarantine stations for all borders and airports in the country in order to prevent the re-entry of Ebola virus into Nigeria. The measure became necessary since the resurgence of the deadly virus in Republic of Uganda. Correspondent in Abuja, Uke Nabuji, takes a look at the resurgence of virus which was chased away from the country a few years ago. The report. At a time when the country is grappling with plans on how to manage the existing and ravaging ailments such as HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis and other dangerous diseases in the wake of U.S. withdrawal from the World Health Organization, Africa is faced with the resurgence of Ebola, a disease that was brought to Nigeria by an index patient, Patrick Sawyer, which potentially exposed 72 persons at the airport and the hospital to danger. In all, 20 cases were recorded in Nigeria between July and September 2014, with 8 deaths and a case fatality ratio of 40%, a figure that was higher than that of Sierra Leone, but lower than Liberia and Guinea at that time. The resurgence of the deadly disease, as reported by the Ugandan health officials on Thursday last week, calls for worry. The officials had confirmed the case of Ebola in the capital Kampala in a nurse care at a number of facilities before it was known he was suffering from the disease. This is the country's 7th Ebola outbreak, although no one else at the hospital, healthcare workers or patient, has yet shown signs of the deadly disease. Everyone, especially Nigerians, are concerned that Ebola may be imported again into the country if necessary measures are not taken. They want the government to take immediate action to contain the outbreak should it be brought to the country.
Government, we have our entry points into the country. Some fly by air, some come by sea, and the other illegal means. The government has to put measures in our airports to make sure that there are health facilities to be able to check anybody coming in or living in the country.
Put in place so that any incoming person to the country, make sure that he will be thoroughly checked. By so doing, I think government by its own side will definitely contribute immensely to the spread of Ebola. And at the same time, all the airports and other designated, entry points has to be thoroughly checked. And by so doing too, I think progress will be made.
For now, since it has not gotten to Nigeria, I think government should ensure that they take proper, care of our border. So there should not be, unnecessary inflow of people from other countries. They should make sure they do thorough checking, and possibly, I don't know if there is vaccine for Ebola. If there is, they should make sure that anybody that will be coming into this country should provide evidence that such person has been vaccinated against this Ebola.
Others want the legislature to enact laws requiring thorough testing and the presentation of verified and accurate health results for anyone entering the country, and for citizens to be mindful of their hygiene. Report such cases as neighbors displaying unusual symptoms of illnesses to relevant authorities.
They have to take care of their personal hygiene and they take care of their environment. Check your neighbors, how they are living their life, their personal hygiene as well. So you take precautionary measures so that you will be able to get unnecessary infections and they maybe transmit to other people.
It's not something that is new. We've been through it years back and we saw what we all went through. So I guess it's not only the government alone, even we as individuals, as human beings, we need to bring back what is important by first seeing that we wash our hands regularly with soap and water and make sure our environment is clean. For Ebola to come back, that means there's a problem.
Well, with the Federal Executive Council FEC approval of a total of $1.07 billion in financing for healthcare sector reforms under the Human Capital Opportunities for Prosperity and Equality program, as well as $4.8 billion allocation for HIV treatment, signaling a major investment in Nigeria's health sector, containing the expected scourge will not be a far cry. Nigerians just need to support the government by reporting suspected cases in the neighborhood. That way, the impact may not be much. Now it's time to do a reminder of news that made headlines during the week. Tracking the Week is up next.
Hello and welcome to Tracking the Week. On Monday, Vice President Kashim Shettima reaffirmed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's commitment to economic reforms that prioritize inclusive growth and bridge financial gaps across the country. Accordingly, he inaugurated the Presidential Committee on Economic and Financial Inclusion, PRECEFI, as part of the federal government commitment to achieving a $1 trillion economy by 2030. The event also witnessed the signing of an investment agreement by private sector stakeholders to provide the foundational infrastructure needed for the full operationalization of the ASUA Accord initiative. The Accord signed on Thursday, 25th April 2024 at the State House Banquet Hall is a core pillar of the Tinubu administration renewed hope agenda to transform the nation's economy. Speaking during the inauguration ceremony and sign-off of the investment commitment at the Presidential Villa Abuja, the Vice President called on all stakeholders to support the government effort at bridging financial gaps for millions of unbanked citizens. Still on Monday, the Supreme Court dismissed a suit by Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara seeking to remove 27 members of the State House of Assembly on ground of their alleged defection from the People's Democratic Party (PDP) to the All Progressive Congress (APC). The Apex Court on Monday dismissed the suit in a ruling delivered by Justice Musa Uwani Abaji, following the dramatic withdrawal of the appeal by Fubara through his lead counsel Yusuf Ali San. Correspondent Kulujo reported that Governor Fubara, in a notice for withdrawal of the case, simply informed the three-man panel of justices of the court that the event had overtaken his suit and that the lawmakers are their friends. The request for the withdrawal of the contentious suit was not opposed by Rivers State House of Assembly and its Speaker Martin Amehule, who were represented by Chief Wuli Olanipekunsan. Olanipekunsan, however, demanded for outright dismissal of the suit on the premise that parties have filed and exchanged a brief of argument and thus joined issues with each other. On Tuesday, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board says candidates under the age of 16 can be considered for admission into tertiary institutions if they demonstrate that they are academically exceptional by scoring 80% and above in the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. Given that the total score in the UTME is 400 marks, 80 represents a minimum score of 320. This development follows the recent reversal of the mandatory 18-year admission age benchmark introduced by the former Minister of Education Tahir Mamman. The current Education Minister Olatunji Alausa reinstated the previous benchmark of 16 years, a move widely supported by stakeholders in the education sector. Speaking during a recent meeting with key stakeholders including chief external examiners, chief technical advisors and members of the Equal Opportunity Group, JAMB Registrar Professor Ishaq Oloyede stated that while the 16-year age requirement remains the standard, exceptional candidates under the age of 16 may be granted admission under strict conditions. Still on Tuesday, the federal government increased the application fees for new private universities to 25 million naira, up from the previous 5 million naira. The Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission, NUC, Professor Abdullahi Ribadu, announced this in a memo, stating that the move aims to improve private university education in Nigeria. The cost of purchasing application forms has also risen from 1 million to 5 million naira. The NUC has suspended inactive applications, including those of private open universities that have made no progress of over 2 years. This suspension, effective from February 10, 2025, will last for 1 year to allow for a comprehensive review. Applications at the initial stage of submitting letters of intent will also be halted. Applicants who have purchased forms must pay the revised 25 million naira processing fee within 30 working days or risk forfeiting their applications. On Wednesday, the Nigerian Senate passed 4 bills after recommitting them to the Committee of the Whole. They are the Northwest Development Commission, Southwest Development Commission, Southeast Development Commission, and the National Youth Service Corps Trust Fund Establishment Bills. Correspondent reports that the leader of the Senate, Opeyemi Bamidele, moved a motion for the recommittal, recalling that the bills passed and forwarded to the clerk of transmission to President Bola Tinubu. Senator Bamidele said the action of the lawmaker relied on Orders 1, subsection B and 52 of Senate Standing Rules 52, 6 of the Senate Standing Orders. He specifically mentioned clauses 14, 15, and 4 subsection 1 of the respective bills before the Senate resolved in the Committee of the Whole. In his remark after the passage, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, thanked the lawmakers and the entire establishment. Still on Wednesday, the Minister of State for Education, Professor Suweiba Ahmed, emphasized the importance of creativity and innovation in driving Nigeria's economic development. Speaking at the 2025 National Exhibition of Creativity and Innovation, Ahmed noted that the world is evolving rapidly and it is imperative for Nigeria to foster a culture of innovation, entrepreneurship and technical excellence among its youth. Correspondent Kulujo reported that the minister, represented by the Director of Colleges of Education in the ministry, Dr. Uche Oba, said the Federal Ministry of Education recognized the crucial role that creativity and innovation play in the nation's economic development. The Permanent Secretary in the ministry, Dr. Nasir Sani Gwazo, was equally represented by Dr. Yusuf Saeed, Director Reform Coordination in the ministry, said the exhibition serves as a collective commitment to fostering ingenuity, technological advancement and creativity in polytechnics and other allied institutions. On Thursday, the Nigerian Senate passed the sum of 54 trillion naira as aggregate expenditure of the federal government in the 2025 fiscal year. The bill was passed after the upper chamber reviewed key highlights of the bill, which outlines a total aggregate expenditure of 54.99 trillion naira. Correspondent Kulujo reports that the budget breakdown includes significant allocations for recurrent spending, capital projects and debt servicing, as well as a projected fiscal deficit. Key budget allocations include total expenditure 54.99 trillion naira, statutory transfers 3.65 trillion naira, recurrent no debt expenditure 13.64 trillion naira, capital expenditure 23.96 trillion naira, debt servicing 14.32 trillion naira, fiscal deficit 13.08 trillion, and deficit to GDP ratio 1.52%. President Bola Tinubu had originally presented a 49.7 trillion budget to the National Assembly on December 18, 2024. However, on February 5, 2025, he revised the budget upwards to 54.2 trillion naira, citing additional revenue to be generated by key government agencies. Still on Thursday, the Central Bank of Nigeria threatened to penalize banks that compel customers to withdraw amounts lower than 20,000 naira per transaction from automated teller machines. The Apex Bank disclosed in a question and answer explainer released on Thursday in reaction to its recent review of ATM withdrawal fees. It stressed that ATM charges for withdrawals made from other banks' ATMs both on-site site are based on the expectation that customers can withdraw up to 20,000 naira per transaction. Consumers denied the right to withdraw to up to 20,000 naira per transaction are encouraged to file a complaint with the CBN. The Apex Bank also clarified that banks must not charge more than the prescribed ATM fees, though they can charge less depending on their cost structure and business model. The charges and surcharges are capped, meaning banks and other financial institutions cannot charge more than the fees stated in the circular. However, a bank can charge a lower amount depending on its cost structure and business development drive. CBN, however, recommended that customers withdraw cash from their own bank's ATMs to prevent incurring additional fees. On Friday, the National Assembly explained the rationale behind the existence of 2 separate budgets being run by the federal government. Recall that there are 2 budgets currently in operation in Nigeria. The 2024 budget estimate that is expected to terminate by June this year and the 2025 passed yesterday At the National Assembly, correspondent Kulujo reported that the chairman, Senate Committee on Appropriation, Senator Adiola Olamilekon, while addressing Senate correspondents, blamed the development and procurement process. According to him, Nigeria is currently running two budgets to procurement process, noting that the National Assembly is leaving no stone unturned to ensure that once the budget is passed, procurement should commence. Still on Friday, elder statesman and chieftain of the Pan-Yoruba Social-Cultural Organization, Afenifere Pa Ayodele Adebanjo, died at the age of 96. Adebanjo died on Friday morning at his residence in Lekki, Lagos State. The family confirmed his death in a statement made available to correspondents. The statement was jointly signed by children, namely Mrs. Ayotunde Ate, Mrs. Adiola Aziz, and Mr. Obafemi Ayo Adebanjo. The family also disclosed that consultations are ongoing with Adebanjo's friends, associates, and various interest groups across the country and beyond to finalize plans for a befitting funeral. According to the statement, details of the funeral arrangement will be announced in due course, adding that the condolence register has been opened at his residence in Lagos and his country home in Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State. The former organizing secretary of the action group is survived by his 94-year-old wife, Chief Christy Ayo Adebanjo, along with children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. And that's what we have on Tracking the Week.
Now, we move to the international desk for more news.
This is news from the international scene. 10 women and 3 children were among at least 18 people killed in a crowd crush at a train in India's capital, New Delhi. Thousands of Hindu pilgrims waited to board trains to attend the annual Mahakumbh Mela religious festival. The incident unfolded on Saturday night at about 8 p.m. local time on 2 platforms at the New Delhi railway station as huge crowds waited to board trains at the Prayagraj city where the festival is being held, some 624 kilometers southeast of the capital. Delhi's Chief Minister Atishi, who only uses one name, initially told reporters that 15 people had died, while the Press Trust of India updated the death toll to 18 people. India's Minister of Railway, Ashwini Vaishnaw, said 4 trains had been deployed to evacuate a sudden and unprecedented surge of travellers at the station, and an investigation has been ordered to find out what went wrong. The Mahakumbh is the single biggest milestone on the Hindu religious calendar, and officials said about 500 million devotees have already visited the festival since it began in January. Crowd crushes regularly occur at India's major religious festivals. Thousands of Serbians blocked the main boulevard of the central city, Kragujevac, the latest in the series of student-led protests over last November's deadly collapse of a train station roof. The increase in pressure being applied by the university student-led movement has already forced the resignation of several high-ranking officials, including Prime Minister Miloš Vučević at the end of January. Crowds gathered in the city centre at the start of Serbia's statehood holiday, calling for greater government accountability and reforms. Protesters filed into the street well in the afternoon on Saturday, waving flags marked with bloody handprints the protest logo. The Kragujevac blockade is the 3rd day-long city demonstration after Belgrade and Novi Sad a few weeks ago. The collapse of the station roof in Novi Sad in November last year, which killed 15 people, followed extensive renovations of the building in the northern city. The death fueled long-standing anger over corruption and demands for accountability. The blockade was planned to last past midnight, marking the anniversary of the enactment of the Serbian Constitution in 1835, making it one of the most progressive in Europe at the time. A stabbing in Austria that killed a 14-year-old boy and wounded 5 others was an Islamist attack. Officials The attack took place on Saturday at Village, a town near the border with Italy and Slovenia. A 23-year-old Syrian asylum seeker was detained at the scene. Interim Minister Gerard Kana said an Islamic State group has been found in his apartment, while State Police Chief Michaela Kulwes said he had sworn allegiance to the group. Speaking at a news conference on Sunday, they said it was an Islamist attack with IS linked by an attacker who, according to the investigation so far, was obviously radicalized via the internet within a short space of time. Connor said the suspect had a valid residence permit, no criminal record, and had not previously attracted the attention of authorities. Authorities previously said the suspect had a temporary residence permit and was waiting for a decision on his asylum application. The attack took place around 4 p.m. local time near the town's main square. Still, Russian drone strikes have damaged the thermal power plant in Mykolaiv in southern Ukraine overnight, leaving 46,000 consumers with heating as temperatures plunged below freezing. Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal said this was done deliberately to leave people with heat in sub-zero temperatures and create an humanitarian catastrophe. Shmyhal said Russia attacked Ukraine with 143 drones overnight, but the Ukrainian military said they shot down 95 of them, while 46 did not reach the target, likely thanks to the use of electromagnetic countermeasures that disrupt drone attacks. At least one person was injured in the overnight attacks, which also damaged houses in the Kyiv region, Ukrainian officials said. The temperature in Mykolaiv is expected to fall to -7 degrees Celsius on Sunday. On the sidelines of the 3-day security conference, which concludes on Sunday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky urged Western allies to boost their defense. Zelensky said Russia now owns 20% of Ukraine and is slowly advancing in the east as Moscow's full-scale invasion nears its third anniversary. He cited data showing that over the past week, Russia has launched about 1,220 aerial bombs, over 850 drones and more than 40 missiles into government-controlled areas of Ukraine. Taiwan has detected 24 Chinese military aircraft near the island of Canadian warship passed through the sensitive Taiwan Strait, Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense says. The Chinese aircraft included fighter jets and drones and was spotted on Sunday carrying out joint combat readiness patrols with military vessels around Taiwan. The ministry said in a statement, China's military radioed the Canadian frigate transiting through the Taiwan Strait and warned that it's going to change course. The Halifax-class frigate HMCS Ottawa was the first Canadian naval vessel to transit the way this year. Taiwan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said its transit came days after 2 United States ships, a naval destroyer and survey ship, made the passage. The U.S. and its allies regularly pass through the 180-kilometer Taiwan Strait to reinforce its status as an international waterway anchoring China. The U.S. destroyer and ocean survey ship traveled through the strait, drawing criticism from China's military, which said it sent the wrong signal and increased security risks. Lastly, on the international scene, Rwandan-backed M23 rebels have entered Bukavu, the second-largest city in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, after advancing rapidly in the country. The governor of the South Kivu province, Jean-Jacques Purusi, on Sunday confirmed the rebels' presence on the provincial capital of Bukavu, adding the Congolese troops have withdrawn to avoid urban fighting. The armed groups have been advancing on the city since seizing the region's major one of the Goma in late January. The fall of Bukavu represents the most significant expansion of territory under the M23 since the latest armed rebellion started in 2022. As panic swept through the city, there were reports of widespread looting, including at World Food Programme depot, while thousands of civilians fled. However, it was also reported that scores of residents cheered on the M23 rebels as they walked and around the city centre. A day earlier, the rebels took control of Kavumu, serving Bukavu. They reportedly faced minimal resistance as they advanced through the town. The airport was the last significant military barrier for the rebel forces before reaching Bukavu, a home to more than 1 million people. And that's it from the international scene.